What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am hella excited because we're finally getting the chance to talk about Sorry to Bother You. Now, this movie was actually released in 2018. I've seen it hella times. I've just never gotten the chance to talk about it on the channel, but I gave it a rewatch a couple weeks ago and I was like, this is the time. This is the time I make a video on this movie. I swear to God. But like I said, this movie was released in 2018, but it was actually written and directed by the one and only Boots Riley back in 2012, and he also recorded a record with the same title as the movie and also a book with the same title as the movie. So I guess this film was just kind of bound to happen in Boots Riley lore. The film follows Cassius Green, or Cash, and this man is down bad, bro. He's broke as fuck. He needs a job. All he needs is just a job. He doesn't care what kind of job it is. He is trying to make some bread to feed his family, right? He gets a telemarketing job and he realizes he's still broke, bro, but he's working his ass off. He finally ends up getting a promotion, and that promotion leads to him ditching his friends, kind of becomes a scab, his anti-fascist partners, like, what the fuck? Chaos begins to ensue. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to give you full spoilers because I do think this movie still remains underrated. There are a lot of people who still haven't seen this movie. The person that I watched it with had never even heard of it. So I'm not going to get too spoilery in this movie, but that's the general plot of the film. And I'd say this movie kind of teeters a line between fantasy, comedy, and political satire. Obviously, the main character's name is Cassius Green. But I think the film does a really great job at having a message without relating it too much to hyper current political issues. I think that it remains timeless, which is kind of an unfortunate thing for keeping it real, but I think that you could watch this movie 10 years ago or 10 years from now and the things that they're addressing in this movie would still be relevant, unfortunately. I also think this movie does a good job of being political without being too political, because at the end of the day, everything is political to a degree, but you have a lot of people who are going into a film not wanting it to be that, not expecting it to be that. Obviously, this is a Boots Riley film, so a lot of people are going into it expecting that, but like I said, I just think it does a really good job of just not being too crazy about it, not being too on the nose about it. There's actually this interview with Boots Riley where he said that he changed some of the stuff in the film because a lot of it was too on the nose. Like, apparently there was a line in the original script where there's a character that says, "We're making worry-free great again." And that was even before Trump and all that shit. It was just way too on the nose. So he took that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, a main plot point of the film that isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer is the white voice. And I just love how it's specified in the film that talking white isn't even just speaking proper, it's sounding worry free so that people actually listen to you. And I thought that was a really interesting way of going about it. There's even some funny dialogue in the film where Cash is talking about how people already make fun of him for sounding white, so he doesn't really know what else to do. And I relate to that so fucking hard. But then dude is like, no, like, I'm not talking about Will Smith white. I'm talking about sounding worry free. And that's where you really get into it. I don't know, bro. I just thought that whole aspect of it was hilarious, but also super well done. As far as the movie itself, I loved it. I thought the cinematography was very fantasy-esque. I loved the shots that kind of suspended belief, kind of broke the fourth wall in the way, and then also literally broke the fourth wall. I loved the wonderful performances. I thought Tessa Thompson was amazing. I thought Lakeith Stanfield was amazing. Obviously, like I said earlier, I thought the political commentary was great, but not too on the nose, and I really liked that. The ending is ridiculous. Now, obviously, we're kind of going to get into that, but I'm not going to get into spoilers. This ending is crazy. And there are people that absolutely hate it, which I can't grasp. I thought the ending was amazing, but just go into it knowing this ending is ridiculous. But I also thought it had a really good runtime. I think this movie sits at like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. It's great, bro. You don't really feel the runtime at all. I thought the practical effects that were used in the ending were also super great. I'm really glad that they didn't go in like a CGI direction. As far as the things that I didn't like, there are some very, very minor editing choices that I think are just an artistic choice that I was just like, what the hell? So I don't even think that's negative. I think that's just nitpicky. And then I think some of the jokes fell a little flat for me, but it's like, who cares? Like, who really gives a fuck? I don't really think my negatives are really negatives, to be honest. But overall, I think this movie works because the further you are away from reality, the easier it is to view reality. I think that this movie does a really good job at suspending said reality so that you can do that. I think this film is also super important to watch in 2025. I know that I saw it back in 2020 and in 2018 when it came out, but in 2025 it felt the most relevant out of all the times that I saw it. I think this movie shows that it's important now more than ever to stand with your community regardless of money, regardless of status, because they will try to get you with that, bro. But I think it's super important to stand with your community. Always remember that, always. And I know that can be very hard, but it's not only that, it's actively fighting against our oppressors and refusing to give up your ground. I think that's super important. I think that's something that this movie addresses very well. Personally, I don't think it's enough to teach financial literacy to Black Americans because you will not be allowed to get ahead in this country. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I don't want to get too political in this, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Don't worry. But I also love that there are tons of Easter eggs that encourage a rewatch. There are so many theories. Like, it's so fun to rewatch this and catch things that you never saw before. So even after you watch it, I highly encourage like inviting your friends over, watching it with the homies, having a girls night or something like that, because this movie is, if anything, a conversation piece. And like I said, I think it's really important viewing in 2025 as well. But I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 on Sorry to Bother You. Let me know in the comments if you saw this movie, what you thought about it. If you liked the video, make sure you actually like the video and hit the sub button, hit the bell so you don't miss anything. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Fuck off.